Hello, this is Mount Takao English Guide Lessons, a break room today. I'm now English guide. Today's theme is tips for guiding. Let me share some tips we've learned from our experiences. Please allow me to introduce ourselves before I share the tips. This series, Mount Takao English Lessons, is produced and presented by our 36 Knight-errants Academy. The goal of this series is people who climb Mount Takao are able to guide their friends on the mountain. It's for not only our English speaker, but also our Japanese people. And we want everyone to enjoy Mount Takao even more.
By the way, what is the purpose of the guide? We think it's to give our guests fun memory to take home. Do you think how important for it is? That's right, it's a memory. It's about leaving fond memories in the minds of your guests. To do this, we need a conscious, a surprising, and interesting story based on brain science and other topics. Now, this is the table of contents for tips. Number 1. Explanation time. Number 2. Interaction. Number 3. Supplementary material. Number 4. Proper noun. Number 5. Translation of Kami-sama. Number 6. Photo. Number 7. A demonstration. So let's get started. Tips 1. Explanation time. What length do you think is good for the time for the point guide explanation? I think it's 1 to 2 minutes is best. Keep it short and memorable with a story. Guests get bored very easily. Extracting keywords from our lessons and let's make it your short explanations. Tips 2. Interaction. Dialogue is very important. First, eye contact and seeing guests' reaction. Asking each other questions. Following the explanation, let's include the next phrase. Do you have any question? Next, supplementary material. Let's show a picture or a figure. Let's hand out handouts from time to time. Especially homemade items are well received and become a key keepsake in photographs and memories. Tips 4. Proper noun. Just Japanese names and places are hard for foreign people to remember. Let's give guests a funny English translation. It's a good idea to find memorable words. It's fun. Now these are my examples. The number 1. Japanese Fudo Myo. My translation, Wisdom King Fudo. Wisdom King is normal translation. Number 2. Sanju Rokudoshi. It's a 36 Knight-errants. We already learned in the lesson A4 and after lesson. Sanju Rokudoshi is Buddha Dainichi's young generals. So I think the image is same. Number 3. Izuna Daigongen. My translation, Great God Izuna. What do you think? Tips 5. Translation of Kami-sama. How do you translate Japanese Kami-sama? Japanese word Kami-sama are considered to include all gods. Because Japan is polytheistic, there are some words to Kami-sama in English: God, divine, deity, etc. But I use God because God is easy for second language speakers. One thing to note: God in lowercase means a common or Buddhism word, but God with a capital letter represents the Christian's one and only God. Tip 6. Photo. Photos are a great way to preserve memories. Be willing to cooperate in guest-taking photos.
So next example of English guiding. The guided point is lesson D4 turning point. This is map of Yakoin Temple. A turning point is here. Trail 1 is divided in two. This one. Now seeing eyes of guests. Here is turning point on your line. Left is man slope, right is woman slope. Man slope has 108 steps. Buddhism says 108 is a number of Bonno. This one. Bonno, Buddhism word. Bonno is worldly desire. When you reach the top of the stairs, all Bonno should be disappeared and enter Buddhism paradise. There is Kunke Gate, the entrance of Yuki Park. Now, which do you want to go? By the way, the formula of Bonno is famous. This one. Wait. Bonno is famous. This formula. First, all number is 108. First are 6 perceptions. Eyes, nose, mouth, ears, body for touching, and mind. And next 3, likes also dislike. Next 2, clean or not clean. I think it's a Buddhism deep idea. And 3, time, past, present, future. So 6 times 3 is 18. 18 times 2, 36. 36 times 3 equal 108 Bonno. Thank you. Do you have any question?
English guiding is one of skill. I'd like to introduce a novel that's centered around the theme of skill acquisition. It's this book, Legend of the Master by Nakajima Atsushi, translated by Mapropo, Doc and Rico. A story of Kisho, who aspired to become a master archer. based primarily on the Lizzie or the life of Kisho, who aimed to be an archer, as depicted in the Lizzie. It's a very interesting book. I'll give you a synopsis, but it's a bit long. Enjoy! Before starting the synopsis, let's introduce the author Nakajima Atsushi. He was born in 1909 Tokyo, a Japanese author known for his unique style and self-introspective themes. During his life, he wrote about 20 works, including unfinished works, typically inspired by classical Chinese stories and his own life experiences. He died in 1942, only 33 years old. Legend of the Master was the last work published during his lifetime. Legend of the Master by Atsushi Nakajima. A man named Kisho who lived in Handa, the capital city of Chao, committed himself to being the most accomplished archer in all the world. In search of a teacher, he looked far and wide. Eventually, learning of a master archer named Hie, who was without peer. Kisho traveled a long distance to master Hie and became his pupil. Hie's initial instruction to his new pupil was learn not to blink. Kisho returned home, burrowed beneath his wife's room, and lay on the floor. His intent was to fight the urge to blink. The manatee, the room's frame, hurriedly jumped up and down within a whisker of his eyes. Day after day, in this bizarre manner under the room, he honed his discipline. 2 years passed, even if the room's busily moving manatee brushed his eyelashes. Kisho never blinked again. Finally, he could end his stay beneath the room. In the accumulation of his effort, a small spider was able to weave a web between his eyelashes, giving him the final bit of confidence he needed to inform the master of his progresses. Upon hearing the news, he said, "Learning not to blink is not yet enough for me to teach you archer. Next, you need to learn to see. When you have matured in your practice of seeing, you will see small as big and infinitesimal as colossal. Once you are able of this, report back to me." He returned home again, thought aloud in the seam of his garments, and found one. He promptly tied a knot around its body with a strand of his hair and hung it from a south-facing window. All day long he stared at the louse. Each and every day he continued to stare at the louse that hung in front of the window. With the passing of 10 days, however, the louse appeared to be a bit larger than it once was. The next 3 years slipped by quickly, and during that time, he went through 20 to 30 lives. One day, he suddenly realized the size of the louse had grown to be the size of a horse. I've got it. People were the size of tall buildings. Horses were mountains, pigs were hills, and chickens were castle towers. He drew back the string and released the arrow, a direct hit, straight through the heart of the louse. And on top of that, the strand of hair remained. Kisho ran hurriedly to the master and recounted his success. Equally excited, he pounded his chest with fervor and said, "Well done," offering Kisho his first measure of congratulations to date. Immediately thereafter, he left no stone unturned imparting his esoteric secrets of archery to Kisho. Kisho's 5 long years of foundational eye training had paid off handsomely. His improvement outpaced all expectations. Then, 10 days after absorbing Hiei's esoteric secrets, Kisho decided to test his newfound skills on the willow tree. 100 paces, 100 leaves, 100 arrows. Each arrow hit its target. 20 days later, Kisho drew back the strong string of the bow. A cup of water filled to the brim, resting on his right elbow. He still swore leaves with great accuracy, and even more remarkably, the water in the cup remained placid. A month later, he took another 100 arrows and in a rapid succession began firing. The first darted from his bow and rocked squarely to the center of the target. The path of the second was so precious, it pierced and impaled the tail of the first. A split second later, the third firmly lodged itself deep within the shaft of the second. Because each successive arrow pierced the arrowhead of its precedent, without a single miss, they remained stuck within the target. In the blink of an eye, 100 arrows melded together to form a straight shaft, taking on the appearance of a single arrow, looking as though it was being embarrassed by the string of a bow. Watching the situation unfold nearby, Master Hiei spontaneously shouted, "Excellent!" With not a lesson left to absorb from his master, one day Kisho suddenly had an evil thought. In those moments alone, he began to consider the reality that any rival he might possess at this point would be none other than Master Hiei himself, and that to become the #1 master in the world, he would need to get rid of Hiei at all costs. So he convened with himself, secretly plotting an attack. One day he happened upon the master walking alone toward him in the wilderness. Immediately, Kisho decided to act. He pulled an arrow from his quiver and aimed. Hiei, who sensed the presence of another at just that moment, drew an arrow of his own. A volley ensued with each man firing in rapid unison. Each of the arrows connected at the center of the airspace between them and fell remarkably together in pairs, in an act that could only be attributed to their possession of near god-like skills. Not a single speck of dirt was disturbed as the arrow hit the ground. Kisho, however, had an advantage. He remaining arrow to Hiei's none. I've got him, murmured he, enthusiastically, letting the final arrow fly. Hiei instinctively broke off a branch from the wild rose shrub next to him, clasped his hat tightly around the stone encrusted end and wielded it, striking the head of the now perilously near arrow. In the end, Kisho realized he would never meet his ambition, and a swell of moral shame suddenly overtook him, one that would have never occurred had he succeeded. Feeling relieved that he escaped danger, and satisfied it was his own skill that saved him, he was able to completely dismiss any hatred for his enemy. The two ran toward each other, met in the middle of the field, and embraced their tears of affection for one another as teacher and pupil streamed until they could no longer see through their tears. Despite being consumed by tears and in a tight embrace, Hiei knew it would be dangerous if he allowed his pupil to incubate a similar scheme in the future. So he thought it best to give Kisho a new goal to redirect any latent intent he might possess. He told his dangerous pupil, "I have already passed on everything that should be taught. If you wish to achieve the deepest of mastery, go west. Claw your way up the large mountain of Kakuzan until you reach its summit. There you will find a master named Kanyo that no one, dead or alive, can match, compared to the skill of that old master. Actually is nothing more than a child's play. There is nobody you should entrust your mastery to now other than Master Kanyo." Kisho took to the west at once. Hiei's word that there actually was nothing more than child's play had hurt his ego. After a month-long journey, he finally arrived at his goal of summiting the mountain. Welcoming Kisho in his all-fire-up state at the top of the mountain was an ancient man as old as the hills, with kind, sheepish eyes. He was probably over 100 years old. His lower back was bent, and his silver beard drudged the ground as he walked. Thinking he might be deaf, in a loud voice, Kisho hastily announced the purpose of his visit and stated he would like him to observe his skills. Without waiting for a response and sparing not a second, he impatiently removed the willow-hemmed bow from his back. Then he knocked a stone-tipped arrow and aimed it in the direction of a flock of migratory birds passing by high in the sky at just that mountain. Direct from his bow flew the arrow, snagging 5 large birds and sending them vividly downward, slicing through the clear blue sky. You are through and through, it seems. The old master smiled calmly, but it is only archery of archery. You young have not seemed to grasp archery of no archery. The old recluse led the slightly offended Kisho to the top of a cliff 200 feet from that point. Its edge was as vertical in nature as a folding screen. As he chased the pebble with his eyes, he found himself unconsciously dropped into crouch. His legs were trembling, his sweat dripping complete to his soles. Laughing, the old master outstretched his hand, guided Kisho down from the rock, and stepped onto it himself. It was then, he said, so now let me show you what archery is about. Kisho, in spite of his face being blue and his heart still racing, all of a sudden noticed something and said, "But what about your bow? Your bow?" The old man was bare-handed. "Bow?" laughed the old man. "When you still need a bow and arrow, it is archery of archery. Archery of no archery requires no fancy blackguard bow and no prize arrow from Shusen." Just above them, a black kite leisurely circled high in the sky. Kanyu watched it for a brief period of time. It was so high in the air, it looked to be no bigger than sesame seed. A while later, he knocked an invisible arrow to an invisible bow and pulled the string so far back it matched the curve of the bow itself, looking now like a moon in full. Then he released it. Instantly, the kite fell from the middle of the sky like a rock, with narrowly in a flap of its wings. Kisho was left awestruck. For the first time, he felt the thought he had gotten a glimpse into the endless past that is the way of art. For 9 years, he remained with the old master, absent from the world. No one knew what sort of training he had accumulated during that time. When Kisho finally descended from the mountain, people were surprised by how much his face had changed. And now, wooden and inscrutable countenance. When Kisho visited his EX teacher, Hiei found himself impressed at first grace and shouted, "I can see now you are Real master, unique under the heavens and beyond compare. The rest of us cannot hold the candle to you. Upon his return to the imperial city of Handa, Kisho was heralded as the one and only master. People were frenetic in anticipation of witnessing his virtuosity surely to be on display. However, Kisho never responds to the demand of the people, nor did he consider picking up a bow. He even seemed to have discarded that temporal bow he carried with him into the mountain. In the mountains and years since, those of an unrighteous misset never came within a 100,000 square meter circumference of the home, and smart migratory birds dared not pass through the airspace above. As his reputation took the form of a mystic shroud, Master Kisho gradually aged amidst it. No longer attached to achieving, Kisho's mind was liberated from thoughts of archery. His soul now deeply swimming within a place of peaceful stillness. His already even face lost all further trace of emotion. He rarely spoke, and he came to a point where it was even difficult for one to tell if he was breathing. At this point, I cannot distinguish between him and me, nor am I able to separate good form, but it seems the eyes and likes the ear. The ears are like the nose, and the nose is like the mouth. This statement came from the old master in his closing years. 40 years after he left Master Kind, Kisho exhibited life quiet, really quiet, like puff of smoke. And during those 40 years, he had never once spoken of archery. Because he had never spoken of archery, one can assume, of course, that he had also never wielded a bow or arrow. The synopsis ended. My impression after reading. Number 1. Basic training is very important. Number 2. A master is important. Number 3. It suggests what esoteric is. Number 4. It suggests what Satori is. Archery of no archery. English guiding of no English guiding. Satori of no Satori.
Now closing time. It's fun if you prepare instructions for 2 or 3 guided places for your friends and guests. So next lesson, Life of Gautama. Bye bye.